I'm joined with Steve Garcia today after another great performance, his fourth knockout in the row, already a record inside of the UFC currently, and he's already got another fight booked really, really fast after his last performance. It's only been a week and a half, 2 weeks after, and he's already got another one against another dangerous opponent in Kyle Nelson. But how's the day been going so far? And I know you've been training at the Dunes yesterday as well.
Yeah, man, things are going good. Yeah, we're lined up for another one here, September 7th. I want to say it's the CoMain Event, at the Apex. So, we're back on the grind. It's, you know, not say like super perfect timing, but you know what? Like I'm in shape, especially from that last camp. It kind of sucks because it almost like extends, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the fact that like I'm already in shape, weight's pretty decent. I don't have to worry about, some of the things that I typically worry about. Uh, uh, I've been able to actually focus on the training part. So, I feel pretty good about it, man. And yeah, man, we're back on the grind. Yesterday, me and some of the teammates. So Monday, I don't know if you watched like the UFC fight, like post fight show.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Rashad was talking about like some of the things that you do with Greg, and it just makes it miserable and stuff. Well, he took us to the dunes on yesterday morning and found some of the tallest hills that you can find, and the loosest sand that you can find. And man, it was that's like hell for about an hour, hour and a half. So um, yeah, dude, it's brutal, but you know what, man? Like you feel like a champ after you get done with it. You don't got no legs afterwards and stuff, but yeah, man, it's good stuff. And I'm always training just to push myself a little bit further and find ways to help me win in these fights.
Yeah, and if this fight is going to be a co-main event, that'll be two co-main events for you in a row. And obviously, the last one you didn't really know it was going to be because the Brad Tavares Junior Park fight got canceled so close to the actual event and date. So, what was kind of the thought process? Was there any like change in your mindset when you did hear you're going to be on a slightly bigger stage, even if it was still just a co-main event?
Honestly, nothing changed, man. I was like, it's the same fight, same thing. You know what I mean? Except you're stepping into a co-main. I was happy to have it because I feel like I'm ready for that. I feel like I've been ready for that. And so when you get that opportunity, you're like, hell yeah, let's go. It gives more light to me, and I feel like I can use as much as I can get right now. And I just went in there just very confident, man. Like I try not to be.
The mic must have cut off. Yeah, it's saying your mic's off for some reason. Um,
Sorry, I got a phone call.
okay. Yeah, it's all good now.
Yeah, so yeah, man, very, very confident. I put in the work, man. That's where my confidence, really just grows from. And as long as I'm prepared, I go in there and I feel ready.
And I know you've said it before. You're not necessarily looking to put on like records in the UFC. You're not trying to become like a crazy record breaker in the UFC, but because of your style, because of the fact that you do want to just go out there and try to get the knockout, try to get the $50,000 bonus, you are just naturally going to be more likely to be getting these knockout records. And you are the number one KO artist in the UFC right now by the numbers. So how does it feel to have kind of everybody realize on that last fight that you are number one in that category of knocking people out in the UFC?
Man, it's a blessing. Um, I'm happy to be a part of, you know, something big in the UFC, man. I feel like that's a big deal. I had no idea that that was something that I was um, you know, being put in or whatever. Because I think I have like the longest knockout streaks, and then I'm like tied for third for finishes.
Yeah.
So I mean, man, these are all cool things. You know what I mean? Things that like I don't necessarily plan for.
Yeah.
I go in there and try to knock you out. With every bit I got, and I always go for the finish. I think that I can finish anybody. Obviously, that the higher that you go up to, throughout the rankings and top 15, it gets harder and harder. But if anybody's to do it, it's me. I believe that. So I'm just like I said, I put in the work, man. There's nothing. there's nothing else you can do. There's nothing else that, I mean, maybe you can talk more. Maybe you can try to like get more attention. But ultimately, like I truly believe that the proof's in the pudding type of thing. Like I'm gonna work as hard as I possibly can and, figure out how to make my fights better, how to, attract more attention, how to be more devastating in there. And so far it's working out for me.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the fight cards and the performances that you were able to finally get that $50,000 bonus. I know you were talking to, I don't know if it was Hunter Campbell or Mick Maynard or someone about, hey, I mean, I've had incredible performances in the past, but I wasn't able to get that bonus. But were able to kind of sway them with this performance and get that $50,000. How much did that actually mean for you? And was there anything you kind of been saving up for that kind of helped you be able to afford and purchase?
I mean, more or less, like I just talked to Sean Shelby. He said we'd have a
Sure, sure.
conversation afterwards. What's kind of hard is that sometimes like you don't get like that I can't even think of like the word because there's a word for it, but it's almost like that like cloud when you're early on in the card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your prelims. It has to be like ridiculously like impressive to really, really get something that's gonna, give you a bonus. So I
Yeah.
feel like if I'm on the main card, I'm doing big things on the main card because when I'm fighting out when I'm on the main card, I'm fighting someone who's actually really, really strong. Um, it makes it a little bit more impressive. I got more eyes on me. Um, maybe they pay a little bit more attention. I'm not saying they don't pay attention to everybody on the card, but you have more light on you, and when you perform under that light, you definitely are a little bit more persuasive. And yeah, I feel like I just did that. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but yeah, man. And as far as like, I haven't bought anything yet, so you typically don't see that bonus for about 2 months.
Oh,
So I haven't really done anything with it. Try not to be too stupid, but yeah, man, that's why we're lined up for another one, man. They gave me another contract. So I think we signed another 4 fight deal with them. And so extends my career with them a little bit more. And I'm proud to be, this in this organization. We're doing big things. And um yeah, man, sooner or later everybody's gonna know who I am. It's taking time.
yeah. I mean that's great to hear the new 4 fight deal with the UFC ahead of another good fight. And I heard another interview, it might have been like a week ago, maybe even a few days ago. You were kind of talking about the bonus structure that you kind of envisioned for, like you said, maybe like the best finish of the card still gets that $50,000 bonus, but maybe the guys that if there's a card with like 10 finishes on it or something crazy, everyone should at least get like a 10K, 25K type of thing.
Yeah, man, because I feel like it's almost dispersed, throughout the rest of us because we don't. Oh, like I said, at the early prelims and the prelims, those are your future champs, really, if you think
Yeah.
about it. But they're just putting in the work. They're fighting through the ranks. And when it sucks when you see like, and I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but it sucks when like you see like Adesanya getting like a $50,000 bonus because that guy's already making millions. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think when he finishes, he absolutely deserves it. But these other guys too that kill it. You know what I mean? Barely, making ends meet at the start of the career. It's a little bit bittersweet because you're saying, man, I got this awesome finish, but nobody saw it. Or we didn't really get much light or attention because of it. I feel like that's what happened when I fought Norton Beck in Miami, man. Like I was on such an amazing card. And I think I was like the first or second fight on that card. And I was still grateful to be part of that card because dude, I'm a fan as it is. So like I fought, they take us back home. And then I came back and they gave us like 4 tickets to like come back into the arena. So I had my family. So we got to enjoy the rest of the card, man. It was super cool. So yeah, dude, like the tension at the bottom is definitely not nowhere near at the top, and those guys deserve those bonuses. Those guys deserve the attention. Nothing to take away from them, but if you could disperse maybe a 50,000 between you know 3 or 4 fights that finished and they were really good, why not? You know what I mean? They might
Yeah.
not be getting the 50, but you know what? They're getting 10,000 more than what they weren't getting. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I definitely agree. I kind of every time I see like the main event or the co-main event, and I see like McGregor somehow getting a $50,000 bonus, I'm like, McGregor does
Yeah,
not
and
need a 50K bonus. Like,
that's kind of what I'm talking about. I was like, man, this guy, he's making millions off of his pay-per-view sales. He's making tons of money through his contract. And yeah, I mean, he's super good. Like, yeah, he probably deserves it, but it's like I said, it's bittersweet because he probably deserves it. But these other guys down here that are clawing the way through through the ranks, may have finished, but they didn't get it. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I guess that's the name of the game. It's UFC, and we're just we're all fighters here, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of went out there and put some publicity on your own name after the fight was over with Sung Woo Choi, but Daniel Cormier took a little bit of that away from you, with his remarks. I mean, it was a great call out. I felt it was very respectful, and I think Dan Ige definitely now has his eye on you as a future opponent, because I believe he responded to you on Twitter or X or whatever it's
Yeah.
called, but. What did you think about that whole situation, like the fan response to that, and then of course Daniel Cormier's response as well?
Hey, man, attention, good or bad, is usually gonna benefit you. Um, as you climb, you're gonna get your good hate and your bad hate. Uh, it's DC. Like I expect kind of things like that from him. Um, we had a conversation real quick. He's like, me next time you come down, me you and Gaethje will go play. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm good with that. You know what I mean? I don't need to be in front of a camera to make noise of it, but I just did it because like he this is the new move that he made into a different sport. And I just thought it'd be fun. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um I kind of called him out a little bit, and he kind of, I think he was already pre-planning that already because I in the we have like interviews kind of throughout the week, and you have to sit down with the commentary crew, and he wasn't there, but I guess they told him that I was interested in playing golf with him. So that's kind of how that went down. And I don't see it as anything negative. Like, it is what it is, and I thought it was kind of fun. Um, yeah, man, and it brings attention. You know what I mean? So I'm good with it as far as the call out with Dan Ige. Yeah, he responded, man, and I thought we would have been able to make that happen. Um, I know that like my management had talked to his management, and there was something they were interested in, but they didn't take it. I was actually very very surprised, and um, I guess if he's trying to make another crack at the title, which I'm sure he probably is, uh, he's trying to fight the guys that are ahead of him. So I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I'm just earning my stripes here, and I'm just trying to do it the most devastatingly way possible. And as long as you do your job and you do it good things will follow, like the records and the new contracts and sometimes the bonuses. Bro, like sometimes you just gotta just like keep your head down and just grind. You just gotta grind. It comes, but you have to like be honest with yourself and you have to push through it because man, all the noise on the outside, it gets overwhelming. Even like all these interviews sometimes, like I'm trying to find time to do them, and like I have maybe 15, 16 people trying to get interviews with me, and I'm trying to get all of them. And it's hard because there's only one of me, and I'm trying to, get around as much as I can. And I try to stick to the people that have been with me the most and that give me the most push first. So yeah, man, it comes with it. But at the end of the day, the grind is always winning you majority of your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I always appreciate when you come on, for sure. You're one of my favorite fighters. I mean, especially outside of the rankings, man. I mean, I can't wait for them to finally give you that push that you definitely deserve. And speaking of that push, of course, Kyle Nelson is the task at hand right now on September 7th. But as you know, Daniga has this fight with Lerone Murphy, I think in Abu Dhabi or something like that. Is there
Yeah.
any other people that might interest you? I know there's some like legends at the bottom of those rankings, like Edson Barboza. There's the Bryce Mitchell matchup. Is there anybody else that you kind of have your eye on now that Dan Ige is kind of off the table?
Yeah, I mean, I mainly picked up Danige just because he had a lot of clout coming from that Lopez
Yeah.
fight, and then obviously like when you have an opportunity to maybe fight him on the main event, like of course, like I was gonna like raise my hand. So that's not on the table. That's fine. Um, yeah, man, like whatever. Bryce Mitchell sound that would be a fun fight. You know what I mean? Barboza, whatever. Um, you obviously the closer you can maybe get to a lower ranking, I wouldn't mind Calvin Cater, something like that. But ultimately, like you gotta like the way I see it is when you're almost at the steps of the top 15, you're almost looking down like the gates of hell. You know what I mean? Because everybody in the top 15 are dangerous. All of them are definitely they're a problem, man. And that's where you're gonna really define and get to show whether you're made of championship quality. You know what I mean? And I know that's I'm right on the border of that, and I'm looking down that, almost like that valley of death. You know what I mean? And I embrace it that way. And whoever comes, comes. You know what I mean? And right now, all of them are dangerous. All of them are a problem. Obviously you see like Max and Taporia like at the end of it, and um, in my head, man, that's I couldn't imagine fighting those guys. You know what I mean? Those are the guys that are at the top, and you want to test yourself for sure. But you got to get through the Emmets, and then you got to get to the Barbozas, and you got to get through the Bryce Mitchells, and I think Murphy's in there, Lopez, Ortega, Yair, all those guys, man. They're all deadly. So it's like which snake do you want to piss off? So
Yeah.
I'll piss them all off at some point. We'll see.
Yeah, and you first, of course, have to go piss off Kyle Nelson, kind of ruin
Yeah.
his plans because I mean he was trying to go in there get his top 15 shot. He got that taken away from him, but now you could obviously steal that and get your own top 15 shot off a win against him. How do you kind of view Kyle Nelson as an opponent? Of course, his beginning to his UFC career was a little bit rough, but
Yeah.
ever since he moved down to 145 pounds, he's been doing really, really good and beating a lot of solid guys.
Yeah, man, the guy's tough. I mean, he's actually a big 45er too. Um, Very strong. You can see it when he walks in there, and he has some size. Uh, without giving away too much. I mean, I see some holes in his game that I can maybe explore. He's very he's a tough guy. I think that um he has like solid grappling. He has pretty good takedown defense. Um, he has power in his right hand. Uh, all things you got to be aware of, man. So like at this point, I don't even know what he is. I think he's like 20. He's ranked like 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, depending on who you ask, man, I might be like 50. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
just
I got you number 16.
thanks, man. I'm trying to just go in there and just fight the next person in front of me. Kyle Nelson's the guy, and he knows I'm bringing it. I don't know what he's planning on doing, so I'm preparing for everything. uh, when he's been tested or he's been caught or he feels uncomfortable, he's shooting. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna go in there not expecting it to be uh a stand up war. I expect him, to have uncomfortable. I'm gonna make you feel uncomfortable, regardless on how this fight goes. You're almost gonna just like feel this, like you're almost in this tornado of a storm, and I welcome it. You know what I mean? And I think he's okay with it until he's not. And I'm gonna make it ugly. I'm gonna make it, painful. And may the best man win, man. He's like I said, he's tough, but I feel like I'm proving what I'm doing. It's not like I'm like barely, winning by decision, or I'm barely, edging some of these fights, or I got lucky. Like I've been down, I've been dropped, I got back up. You know what I mean? Like I've sat on my shots, and I've leveled some people. Like I've taken, you know, I've been taken down and reversed them, and been able to capitalize on moments. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I have quality traits to win fights. So that's the plan, man.
And we were talking maybe like 2 or 3 days ago, and you kind of said something that struck a chord with me, and I think that everyone should kind of take this mindset into themselves and use it in their daily life, in their job, in their school, or whatever. And you were kind of saying that you just want to make yourself undeniable, and I really really like that. So I wanted you to kind of explain what that means to you.
I don't want people to question me anymore. I feel like every like even growing like from a young age, everybody's like, oh, he's lucky, or oh, he just has this advantage, or he trains at this gym, or just it's always like an excuse, man. It's just like, let me just do me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show you. Like that's what it is. Like I'm tired. Like I don't talk with my mouth really. Like we're having these conversations and stuff like that, but it's all due because of the work that I put in. You know what I mean? Just the grind. Kind of like what I was telling you earlier. And I'm like, man, I was like, if I go into all these fights, because I remember all the feelings that I've had in failure. And I think failure is what's helped me, and when you experience it, like you sometimes you can be like you have short-term memory when it comes to those losses, and you're just like whatever, it just he got lucky or something happened, and like it doesn't matter. But like for me, I don't forget those moments, like when I've lost and I'm sitting on like this bench, you know thinking I lost my job, and I'm across the world or whatever the case is, and I was just like, it's probably the worst feelings that you ever think. And like me and Holly talked about it a while back, like a week or two ago, and we are just having these conversations about losses and stuff. And um, some people are like, oh, it's not the end of you, and I'm like, no. And she's the one who said it. She's like, that's what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like when you lose these type of fights. Fighters, if you want to go back to like the gladiator days, um, they were dying. They fought to their death. You know what I mean? And we almost feel that way. And like someone finishes us, you almost fought to your death. You know what I mean? We're not dead. We get to come home, but still, like that could be the death of your career. You know what I mean? It could be a death to a lot of different things. So if you really like harness that in, but and then know how to like turn it to something that can motivate you. Because for me, it can happen again. I'm not saying it can't happen again, but I never want to feel that feeling again. And I will do everything I can to prevent that from happening, because it not only affects me, affects my family, affects the future me. You know what I mean? The future me depends on me right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I win right now, the future me is going to be grateful for it. And because I'm just keep moving through the ranks, or winning these fights, I'm financially growing, getting towards closer to my goals, and I'm financially getting blessed, and my family's not suffering because of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love the message. I love the word is really perfect in my opinion. But that's pretty much what you've been doing, and what I assume you want to continue to do throughout the rest of your career. And the last four fights, you certainly did that. Four knockouts in a row. I wanted to ask because they've all come in sort of different ways. The Chase Super one, you had multiple knockouts. Shailan, you got him to the ground and pounded him. You caught him with the body shot. Melquizael, more ground and pound. You've won in a lot of different ways, but all eventually in the same knockout fashion. Which one of these four wins in your last string of knockouts would you say you're the most proud of? Would you say?
I think the one I'm most proud about is, I'd say, Chase Hooper, mainly just because I felt like I was backed into a corner. Um, I felt like the UFC gave me one more shot to really just prove who I was. You know what I mean? And when we made that, I think I was brought in to lose. I felt like obviously Chase Hooper's a prospect, and they were hyping him up and stuff, and I was the guy, I was a stepping stone to do that. And at least that's how I feel. And it was just like, bro, like give it everything you got. Like this is it. You know what I mean? And I felt like if I went out there, fought with everything I had, gave it everything I got, I could be fine with whatever happened. And you just dig deep, and this is even before the fight. And then you go into the fight, and man, it's just like just uh something great happens in there, and you start building off of shots, and you start seeing like, man, like this is what I'm made of, this is what I do. And it was the start of something great.
And my last question for you here is going to be about your nickname, actually, because I mean I've talked to you. This is my second interview with you, and you seem like a really nice dude. You don't seem like a mean machine while I'm talking to you right now, but you definitely turn
Yeah.
into that when you are in the octagon. So I wanted to ask maybe how the nickname originated, and do you still feel like it fits you perfectly?
Yeah, man. Oh, well, I was so first it was just a machine. So like that's kind of where I was because I could train all day. I still can train all day. I do train all day. I can go, I can run. It doesn't matter what it is. I can just go, man. I'm constantly working. I'm constantly doing things. It's definitely not like it's a suitable name. But Mark Hominick had that name, and I was like, man, I was like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? I didn't want to just be, another machine. I wanted to be something else. And there were just like different links to it. I did train at a gym called Mean One, which was like Key Jardine School. And after I fought one of my amateur fights, there's like, dude, you're just mean in there, man. Like you were just so aggressive. Like you take it to these guys. You know what I mean? And my coach is like, that's it. Like you're the mean machine. You know what I mean? They put those two together, and because it's like you said, man, like other that is what I do. Fighting's what I do. And like I get to be free when I'm in the cage. I can be as violent as I possibly can and I can let it out. But man, I'm a family man. I'm a man of faith. I gotta like hold myself in high regards, and people outside this place, they look up to me. And I definitely don't want to be like this jerk outside of this. You know what I mean? Like some fighters have a bad rap. A lot of fighters have a rap, especially here in Albuquerque. Everybody's Jackson Wink fighter. Everybody fights at Jackson Wink, and I'm like, no, you don't train Jackson Wink. You probably trained there one time with your buddy, but you're not a fighter out of here. But everybody says that, and um, it just gives us all a bad rap. And it was funny because my wife thought that too. She's like, "Oh no, another fighter, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Well, just come have some pizza with me." And she's like, "Pizza." I was like, "Yeah, do you like pizza?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right," because most people, hey, let's go get a drink, let's go do this, and yeah, no, it was just different. So yeah, man, I hold myself up a little bit differently, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't wait for September 7th. It's I was so surprised when I heard that you already had another fight booked. This fast of a turnaround, only 2 months, but it could pay off very, very well if you go out there and put on another performance, like we know you definitely can do. So I can't wait for that one. And of course, if you got any final message for all the Steve Garcia fans out there, the floor is yours, man.
Nah, man. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you just watching my boy here. This guy's, he's got my back, and I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on again. Definitely got to make time for you guys. And so I just want to give a big shout out to everybody that's, hopping on the train, man, because I do think that we're we're doing something great here. So thank you guys for tuning in. September 7th, man. I'm gonna do my best to make fireworks. I think I have a dance partner in there that's gonna match my energy in there. And man, this could be fight of the night. So let's see, man. Like I think this is a fight you can't miss. Like truly.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And again, thank you so much for the time, and have a great rest of your day, man.
Thanks, brother. You take care.